Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our NMIS Insights webinar, which is introducing the NMIS SME Engagement Team. If you could bear with us just for a moment, please, just till we allow attendees time to connect. Thank you. Thank you again for those that have just joined us. As mentioned, this is the NMIS Insights webinar, which is introducing the NMIS SME Engagement Team and what it can do for you. And I will now just hand you over to my colleague, Katia McKenna. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our webinar today. We are going to tell you today about the NMIS SME Engagement Team. My name is Katia McKenna, and I'm the NMIS SME Engagement Lead. The purpose of our today's webinar is to give you a condensed introduction and overview of the new SME Engagement Team of NMIS. The team has only started forming over the last months, and I have to add, under the challenging COVID pandemic conditions. We're currently 80 to 90% operational, and so we thought it's a good time to make this introduction. You will hear me referring to the NMIS SME program or NMIS SME engagement strategy, possibly in this and later webinars in our NMIS Insight series. And that too would be in reference to our SME engagement team. So in today's program, we also have several case studies of the work of our centers team that we have previously delivered. We have a panel of speakers today. I will introduce the new SME engagement team in the main presentation, and my colleagues Alistair and Andy will tell you about our work, the work that we've done with SMEs. So several housekeeping items today. This webinar is being recorded and will be made available on your YouTube channel. Your microphones and webcams will be turned off during the session. You can type your questions throughout the session via the chat tool. Time will be allocated at the end for the speakers to answer your questions. And please take some time to complete our survey that will be sent to you after the webinar. NMIS broadly is a group led by industry focused on manufacturing, research and development. Its purpose and existence is to foster collaboration between research, industry and the public sector to transform skills, productivity and innovation. And firstly and subsequently to make Scotland a global leader in advanced manufacturing by attracting investments into the sector. Our SME program is 100% aligned to the NMIS vision and the strategic plan. In reference to the NMIS strategic vision, we have formulated a motto for our team, which is main aim of the SME engagement team is to deliver on behalf of NMIS and our One Scotland team partners, high quality manufacturing and technology innovation support to SMEs across Scotland. We absolutely could not achieve what we're setting out to achieve without our SMEs, our clients, partners, collaborators, members. Our SME clients and technology providers are fundamentally the engines of what we do. All the 5 objectives of our institute as a whole completely chime with what our SME activity is aimed at, and that is increased productivity by reducing barriers to innovation, stimulate investment and increase manufacturing competitiveness, catalyze job creation and strengthen supply chain links, inspire and attract talent and equip current and future workforces with the skills they and businesses need, work with manufacturing businesses of all sizes and multiple sectors, providing benefits across the whole of Scotland. So our SME engagement team's approach is completely aligned to the overall strategy, and so is our delivery plan. Our institute is operated by the University of Strathclyde and supported by a range of Scottish government organisations as well as UK-wide organisations supporting high-value manufacturing catapult, the high-value manufacturing catapult group. Our research portfolio is informed by and aligned to Scottish and national goals and targets for the manufacturing sector. Through our close industry link, we contribute insights gained from the key stakeholders in the manufacturing sector back to the policy makers. And it is being in this unique position between policymakers and policy adopters in the industry that we are able to impact on the trajectory of the manufacturing innovation in Scotland and wider UK. So NMIS consists of several technologies centers and teams. Detailed technical capability discussion is a little bit outside today's format, but I want to tell you a few words about how our centers, our institute is structured. At its start over a decade ago, the AFRC and LMC were working with the automotive and aeronautics sector, focused on innovation in more conventional engineering disciplines such as metal forging and forming. Since then, Industry 4 technologies and innovation have become crucial in pushing forward manufacturing sectors into the digital age, and this has shaped the research portfolios of the AFRC and the LMC today, so Advanced Forming Research Center and the Lightweight Manufacturing Center shown here. So now the services offered by the AFRC and LMC include net zero, electrification, digitization and automation, additive manufacturing, and novel material replacement, to name a few. Particularly prominent are expert capabilities in numerical and analytical process and component modeling tools. The LMC focuses a bit more on turnkey concept from ideation to prototyping to identifying best manufacturing partners for scale up. Its remit is to help businesses to become more sustainable in manufacturing and remanufacturing of equipment parts and identifying solutions that can have less environmental impact and lower costs. Next is the Manufacturing Skills Academy. Manufacturing Skills Academy is tasked with providing support to industry workforce through knowledge sharing, training, and upskilling. A recent recipient of Scottish National Traditional Training Fund, the MSA have developed a suite of CPD online courses, freely accessible to those facing redundancy or those looking to upskill or reskill for gainful employment in various sectors. Businesses can engage with MSA to develop bespoke training courses aligned to audience target topics and skill set. It aims to deliver for their workforce. So another important element of NMIS is the digital factory of the future. It is a showcase piece of the best digital and automation innovations available. So our SME activity spans all of the technical capability of the center. So now on to the team itself. Let us have a look at our SME engagement team. So the team have now got 8 members plus me as the lead. We bring along a lot of experience and knowledge, and most importantly, great enthusiasm for work with our SME clients. Geographically, we cover all of Scotland, and broadly speaking, we are sector agnostic. Our team may also in the future be boosted in the regions, so watch that space. Amir, Aeneas, Andrew, Craig, Dave, Gennaro, Shoki, and Raphael, and you can see their friendly faces here on the slide, will be there for you. Will give you their time free of charge to discuss your requirements and needs and take you on the NMIS SME journey, a journey of innovation. Previous experiences, knowledge of our team span aerospace engineering, design engineering, mechatronics, biomedical and healthcare, food and drink, textiles and apparel, advanced materials, all kinds of different aspects of manufacturing and engineering services, digital connectivity, physics and chemistry, and also enterprise support. And most importantly, all have experience of SME-related work, in one or other form, including direct shop floor experience. Collectively as a team, we bring to the table over 75 years of SME-related experience and also boast about 100 years of working in industry. So our program is rooted in deep understanding of the importance of the SME sector to the economy. And of course, today it is not only about growth in a conventional sense. New times are upon us. Transformation is happening at a deeper level, technologically. Climate change is happening, and it is important basically for all of us to be prepared, for the businesses to be prepared. The themes of digital transformation and sustainability are very predominant and going to be very predominant in what we do in the future. But of course, also there are challenges presented by COVID and Brexit, quite immense, challenges. And on the other hand, you can see, some opportunities emerging as well. So as an industry-facing group, we see technology and market trends and form our strategy and capability basically according to that. So we have a rich, vibrant history on many SME engagements as our regional center and the current institute, some excellent projects, and you will hear about some of them today. So we have delivered advice also to many SMEs. So historically, as an organization, we reached out to hundreds of SMEs in Scotland and further afield. And we're building on very strong foundation. So now with the new resource and plan, we will continue, hopefully to succeed in our SME engagements with our One Scotland partners on board and the rest of the Scotland's innovation community on board as well. So the main objective of the new SME engagement team, again, is to deliver high quality innovation support to the clients, collaborators, partners of the NMIS group. So you can see here some of these partners and networks that we're involved with, and the Scottish Research Partnership in Engineering is very much a part of our capability network. You can see here the high value manufacturing catapult and several leading organizations here and networks that we're working with very closely at the moment. And please, I apologize to any other centers or organizations that we've already established links with. Like I say, we are completely fully integrated across all the Scotland and the UK innovation network. So there are three pillars to how we work. So the team have been developing and continuing to develop a highly collaborative approach, which we hope to develop as much as possible, essentially as our trademark. This means that we are developing an unprecedented level of knowledge of innovation support networks across Scotland and further afield. Like I say, these connections to other networks are very important for us. Due to the limitations of time today, I'm not able to discuss our strategic relationships in great detail. I apologize to any organization, like I say, that I'm not able to mention today. So we will be covering our partnership and presenting joint events in our later webinars. Another key tenet for us is no wrong door approach to support. So this means that any SME can come to us and we will direct them appropriately. So that is also an element of the quality of innovation support that we deliver. And the third pillar is competence, and that brings me on to the next slide. And what we do is, in short, one, advice, we give advice and signposting. Two, we help with academic resource placement and skill support. Three, we provide technical advice and projects. And four, we support networking and programs. So in a little bit more detail, we provide advice and signposting. So an example of that could be a referral to the right part of the HVMC, can be a prompt about a funding competition, an explanation of what level of readiness is required for certain types of projects, can even be a friendly dragon's den Many different possible referrals, which can include One Scotland team partners and our extensive capability network. On two, we facilitate academic resource placement and embarkation on skill improvements program. So examples here include KTPs and graduate placements. We have a graduate placement, for example, under the NTTF, for example, at the moment. So point three, we provide technical advice and help create projects. So we can recommend how to approach a project, how to put it together, how to resource it and plan and help build a consortium to find the right partners. Point four, we facilitate, create conditions for networking and embark our clients on various programs of SME support that we have at our disposal. So one prominent example are the projects under the Advanced Manufacturing Challenge Fund. So we closely collaborating with several projects under that scheme, and without exception would be happy to facilitate links and form projects at any stage. So for a minute, I would like to divert from my more general introduction to what we do, just to give you a bit of an update on several key items of opportunity that we could help facilitate for you. So I have already mentioned the projects of the Advanced Manufacturing Challenge Fund. So please, look them up, and like I say, we can facilitate. I'm not able to discuss every line that I've got here in front of you right now, but please, if you heard of these projects or would like to learn more about them, just come to us. So our team are very heavily involved in the Smart Hub, North Lanarkshire. It's one of the AMCF projects. We are also helping the Interreg Machining 4.0 project, a very interesting project that is aimed specifically at machining companies. And some vouchers are available under that scheme. We also support a Low Carbon Challenge Fund, Project Extend. So please, like I say, if you've heard about these projects, come to us and we will, suitably refer you. An interesting hot of the press item regarding funding is that NMIS are a registered provider of services under the RTO Growth Fund. And this is a rather excellent voucher. It's 100% grant, 15K voucher for companies that are embarked on the UKRI Age program. And again, we can help you embark on the program and facilitate connectivity there. And also, I would like to tell you that we regularly work to survey companies to find out what's happening in the markets, what are their requirements, what are the interest requirements and needs of our companies. And we're currently running a Renfrewshire manufacturing SME survey with our partners in Renfrewshire Council and the local community. So just a little bit, this is a bit of a sort of highlight of what's happening right now, several projects that are in focus for us where we're very active. So back to our sort of methodological approach, how we support you. I would like to give you a bit of an insight into this methodological approach, and the methodology that we are developing constantly is called a journey. And you might ask me why a journey rather than a simple algorithm of support. The reason for that is that we geared up to cater for companies of all sizes, levels of maturity and revenue, different positions in the supply chain, with a huge spectrum of activity and types of products and services. And so this immense diversity of needs and requirements is what we seek to accommodate with our approach. And indeed, we know all too well that it is impossible to practice a rigid one-fits-all approach. Clients are looking for bespoke solutions. And on the other hand, if elements and stage of process are defined, it helps our SME clients to see that how they could work with a research technology organization such as ourselves. So how to simplify the engagement phase, how to ease progressing into solution phase, and how to ultimately achieve a common goal. And so the journey can be described, as three principal phases in working with us. And our methodology is completely sort of goal orientated. What this means is that we aim to achieve tangible results for user climate as a result of our program. So that's what our common goal is. And each phase contains several elements of activity. Some are absolutely essential in any journey, some are less so, some are aligned to other SME-oriented programs and sub-projects, and hence a modular approach for progressing to a solution phase and to equip us to deliver for the result phase and actually observe impact that we deliver for you. The part of the journey called engagement is where you make an inquiry with us. And I'm afraid the format only allows me to unpick a little bit that kind of element, about the inquiry. We assess your requirements and your business and also learn about your capabilities. This engagement stage can include assessment of innovation readiness, other more technically specialist assessments, lighter versions of those, and most importantly, our initial proposal to use a client so that we start seeing the direction of travel. And so we do not have any preset time scales as such, or no fixed gating phases. Fundamental approach is basically, are you ready for the next phase? Will you benefit from another element? And you can see a lot of different elements of what we bring into the conversation and into the delivery for you. So as I mentioned, this is basically a modular approach. So that's why you're not seeing any particular links. But you can establish a link in a bespoke solution. For example, it can have a very simple progression from inquiry through to project and, for example, to case study or impact or follow-up. So some of our schemes and vouchers allow that kind of fast path of progression through our process. So we plan to include more details. I'm picking a bit more the elements of the journey in our future programs. But today being our inaugural event, I would just like to focus on inquiry only. So in order to facilitate best support, we have some suggestions of how best to initiate a conversation with us. The easiest way to contact us is to write an email to the email address shown here, NMIS Inquiries. We would like to ask you to include the following information: company name as per registration, contact details, address, clearly state that you are an SME, give us a brief description of the interest, area of activity, just all the information that would help us to make sure that we could progress as quickly as possible to allocate an advisor to respond to you. Generally, of course, the more information is provided in the inquiry, the better. That does not have to be war and peace or anything like that. If you believe that the conversation requires any additional confidentiality level, please highlight that. Also, the parameters like, for example, proximity of a funding application deadline could be important to know, or a certain event you need to support, for example, like COP26. Please also highlight and include that in the inquiry. So one other item probably I would like to mention specifically today is that our advisors' time to SMEs is available for free, but an important qualification is required. I mean, this is still a valuable resource for you. It needs to be based, it needs to be used on the basis of need or purpose, ideally. So the engagement phase can start with 2 hours and stretch to anything like a few days of our support. But just generally, I would like to point out that the engagement time needs to be used wisely. And so we are here to support you and to take you on our journey of innovation. So thank you very much for listening. This is the end of my main presentation. We will now progress to present several of our case studies. I will stop sharing now and pass the microphone to my colleague Alistair McDonough, who will present the case studies. Thank you.
Oh, okay, thanks very much, Katya, and thanks very much to the audience for joining the seminar. I'm just getting my screen up. Okay, I'm hoping you can see that. What I'll do is just move it to full screen. So thanks very much, Katya, for giving that very excellent description of how we engage with companies. That applies to all companies, large and small. What I'd like, I'm going to present two case studies, and what I'd like you to do is think about your own ideas, your own questions that you have as you hear these individual case studies. As Katya says, we try to apply our knowledge and resource and capability in a particular way to support the company as needs. This example here is a company called Marlin Marine Limited. If you're familiar with Marlin Marine, they're a very traditional, in a very traditional industry, shipbuilding and large-scale manufacturing for oil and gas or renewable energy. They've got a very, very large, 3 football pitches size warehouse over quite close to where NMIS is setting up. So they fabricate a wide range of heavy lift steelwork using traditional methods of welding. In the first visit that I had with them, I was extremely impressed by their capabilities and their dedication to accuracy. But both us and the Marlin Marine felt that there would be technology which would help them become even better. So as part of that process, again, very, very typically, NMIS performed a review of the manufacturing process that they used. And we concluded actually that, as in our own business, support actually, is that data acquisition by measurement helps to guide the quality process for many manufacturing processes. And because of the sheer scale of the components, we identified that laser tracking and photogrammetry tools would be very useful for them. What we did first is we went down and we started to apply it to their existing manufacturing process. And we found very quickly that millimeter accuracies were feasible on some of the very, very large structures that they were fabricating in their workshop. We were able to demonstrate that again on an existing structure for one of their key customers. And shortly thereafter, actually, the company made the bold move of going forward and actually purchasing one of these scanners. These scanners can be quite expensive, but with help from us, actually, they were able to choose a scanner and source a scanner and then bring it into the manufacturing process. Now, again, overall, again, very traditional industry, but the new scanner that Marlin purchased then provided Marlin and its customers with greater confidence in their capability on delivery of their products. And for many industries, that type of support and providing confidence to customers is key to growing a business. And Marlin have gone on to continue to use that. And as Katerina said, we don't just stop the relationship there with the company. We're now engaged in supporting Marlin join in with the Innovate UK projects. And we hope to be getting them involved in a large consortium using their facility to support a growth in the business of themselves and of their future collaborators. We go forward, a big change in scale here for this particular customer. We're going slightly back towards the start of the COVID era, if anybody can remember what that was like. At the time, there was a big interest in PPE PPE for the public and PPE for health staff. So Breathe Easy were a company who they had some what you would call face coverings that were manufacturing and selling, but they didn't have a medically certified. They didn't have a medically certified product. So what we were able to do is NMIS performed a review of the product options for providing a medically certified product. And the particular key feature they wanted to add was a transparent window to the mask. We suggested how they might do that, and we worked and we supported the review of the certifications required. Breathe Easy have now concluded the new design and completed all certification testing. At the same time, actually, obviously, they were having a production ramp up, and they were supported by SPAs. Part of the support for their certification came from NPL, and who have test facilities. And Breathe Easy are now received an order for masks from Scottish NHS, and that's a key part of their growth cycle into this new market for them. And NMIS were able to support and help them grow that. Now, again, like just to remind you, I'd like to hope you can think about your own products and where NMIS might help you. And with that, what I'll do is I'll just stop sharing and pass you over to the next presenter, Andrew, and Andrew will start his case studies.
Thanks, Alistair. Hopefully you can see my screen. Is it sharing? Yes, there we go. So thanks to Katya as well for inviting us along to join in with our SME engagement presentation. I'm going to talk to you today about additive manufacturing business and technology support, which is AMBats for short. It's a research and knowledge transfer project which forms part of Scottish Government's Advancing Manufacturing Challenge Fund, or the AMCF. The goal of the project is to help Scottish SMEs in particular to access the expertise required to make investments in additive manufacturing, de-risk innovation, supporting the adoption of AM, and growing and developing the Scottish AM supply chain. There's a lot of information in this screen, which I'm not going to go through, but basically the way the AMBats has been structured is it's done by support packages, which can be picked to align with your needs, or you can pick multiple components and slot them together, and through this mechanism we can pull together a set of selection of packages which will hopefully meet your requirement. So the idea here is to quickly breeze through a couple of the AMBats mini case studies where we've involved with some SMEs, obviously all Scottish SMEs. And as with these other projects, this is free of charge to the SMEs in particular. The first one I'd like to discuss is Carrars Wheel Limited. It's a British fashion label based actually in East Kilbride that designs and manufactures bespoke accessories from a hard wood called acacia wood. Initially, they were working with the machining team in NMIS, and they were signposted to AMBats because there was an opportunity to potentially help them out on a project that they had wanted to make happen for this year's Paris Fashion Show, which I believe is October, maybe end of September. The idea being that they wanted to create a leather equivalent of their wooden handbag that you see here. Now, but as part of the original project with the machining team, they had taken one of the sections of the underlying wooden bag and had it digitally scanned. So this was our starting point to work with them on AMBats. We identified that we could use our support for design using EM package, which basically is going to help them rapid prototype their products such that they could then use that for a downstream production methods involving the application of leather. So just quickly going through what we actually did was we already had the scanned data. So from that scanned data, we created a digital equivalent of the bag outer structure. That was then processed to align with a printing technology. Here we're using a polymer extrusion capability. And the picture you see at the bottom here is the actual 2/2 of the bags post the creation on the machine. And then that was obviously taken back to the customer. Now, in this circle here, took on a matter of a week or so to actually produce the final product once the discussions with them had taken place. What actually happened downstream from this? Obviously, we delivered them the 2/2 of the support structure for their bag, which they then forwarded on to their leather manufacturers. But during the discussions, we realized that they were potentially, interested in future development of AM because they hadn't realized just how versatile it could be. Obviously, the speed that the prototyping can handle allows them to potentially align better with the fast pace of the fashion industry. Obviously, when they're working in wood, solid woods, it takes a long time to create something from a sketch to then go back and realize it's not exactly what you wanted. So there's future discussion going on with that project, but obviously they're very successful. We look forward to seeing some maybe AM parts on the Paris Fashion Show. The next topic or case study I want to breeze through is this one here called Orthogonal Limited. Now, they're an engineering company based in Aberdeen. They provide additive manufacturing solutions. They already specialize in superpolymers. They're Peak Carbon, Peak Ultim. So they're not really strangers to the additive manufacturing world, but what I'm trying to show here is that AMBats still had opportunities to support them. We had an initial discussion with them, a kind of interactive session. And from that, we understood that we could help them explore the design for AM landscape, covering topics such as optimization strategies, techniques, and also we could review the latest softwares that are available, saving them the time and effort to go and do this deep dive into the multitude of packages that are available. What we then did is did a follow-up session with them where we went through this deep dive of the software requirements, but also harvested from them what they might be interested in terms of developing future capabilities. We then took that information through a bespoke software selection matrix that we've created, and that down selects effectively all the vendor offerings, thereby giving Orthogonal a kind of starting point for future contacts, discussions, and basically smoothing the process for them to upskill their AM capabilities. What you're seeing here in the cloud is basically the breakdown of the interactions we had with them, where we used graphics to explain the landscape of the additive manufacturing software, the capabilities that could be harvested from each of the opportunities, and then we did some demonstrations of some software packages just to get a feel for their understanding of what these capabilities we were talking about were. And then to summarize all that, we created an engagement report for them detailing the interaction so that they could refer back to that and maybe even use that moving forward. So quickly moving on to our third little mini case study. This is a company based in Edinburgh, Pro Engineering. Now, they're an innovative engineering consultancy who specialize in lightweight vehicle and chassis design. Now, they came to us they had already basically possessed high levels of skill in simulation and analysis skills. And they had done some work in the background where they had taken a component and suspension arm linkage, which you can see its kind of orientation in the car here. This is purely for motor racing at this point, I should add. And they had taken that and lightweighted it. This is a traditionally subtractive machines component here. And they had done some work where they created a lightweighted version using still subtractive machining capabilities. But they had dabbled with topological optimization and some analysis and come up with this fully optimized option. Now, working with us, we have discussed again software capabilities and things of that ilk. But what we realized is that ideally for them, the next stage after this, they'd obviously done the analysis and the topological optimization processing, but it isn't necessarily aligned with additive manufacturing process or creation technique, which can have subtle impacts on the way that your optimization and stuff has taken place. So through the AMBats connections we have with the other catapult centres, we have facilitated access to MTC NCAN, the National Centre for Additive Manufacturing, whose team have a wealth of knowledge in the specific processing that we intend to use on this product downstream. It's a powder bed fusion using laser to do the melting. And they've gained this experience during big projects that they've run in the aerospace industry, such as Drama. So obviously being able to tap into their resource is very valuable for us. And this means that we've set up AS Pro to have some interactive sessions with them and look at how to potentially improve the design that they've already worked on, with a view to, you know, creating that, which is why we've said here about a system with local supply chain option, because we've managed to align AS Pro with local supply chains to maybe even produce some of the components, such that we can do some testing, etc. downstream. So again, we feel that that's quite an important aspect to show. Just in a quick summary then, so if you're interested in additive manufacturing and maybe adopting that into your business model, then certainly get in touch with us through the SME engagement team. That's perfectly fine, and we can see if we can help you out. Thanks very much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Alistair. Thank you, Andy. Thank you very much for the fantastic case studies. And I've got a couple to present myself. So let me just share my screen with you now. And I will tell you about two other case studies. One of them is Magdec Landscaping, and the other one is the Carrars Wheel. So on to the Magdec Landscaping. I hope you can all see the slides okay. Magdec Landscaping is a specialist decking company. Tony, the company owner, has created a unique product with global potential, which is a garden decking construction system. And made from composite material and timber, the system is designed to cover previously unusable ground and can be topped with landscaping materials such as lawn, paving, and tiles. It is a sustainable and reusable solution, and it doesn't require heavy machinery, plant and concrete and block work, and so on. So many of us are familiar, have seen flooded gardens, flooded at the bottom, and kind of localized flooding is becoming more and more of a problem. Tony's solution is also suitable for sloping gardens, and we have a lot of those around here. So a fantastic idea to create a construction system. And you know that if you create a construction system, basically it allows you to to scale up your business, create packages of materials and technology and so on. So this is a new kind of product conceptualization on the part of Magdec. So you can do the bespoke stuff, but you can also use the pre-packed elements of the system, which is absolutely fantastic idea. So when Tony was seeking expert input, he came to us by using interface service, which links businesses and academics. And the FRC picked up the inquiry in collaboration with our university's Department of Mechanical and Aerospace Engineering. And the project was funded by an innovation voucher from the Scottish Funding Council. So the product is very, very interesting. The use of composites is actually quite innovative. Composite material here provides durability and lightness and strength, and also possibility of drainage, of water through these structures. So Tony's idea to use composites was very interesting, but a little bit innovative. He needed to increase a kind of confidence in the overall strength of the structure, how it will perform, and the stresses and so on. So this combination of different materials in the sort of decking sandwich, you know, it's quite innovative. So what we set out to do, you know, first the performance of the elements of the decking system was experimentally tested at MAE, where there is a significant expertise in materials and structural analysis, and we collaborated specifically with advanced composite group in that department. So this is just a subunit in our university. This work revealed the differences between the currently and previously used panels, provided valuable information for input into the computer simulation. So we then progressed on from the experimental work, you know, that gave us the useful data and fed that data into the computer simulation. So full-scale testing was performed. And then we progressed on to the modeling of the system. And we have modeled various product combination and stresses. So each material was tested individually and then in combination and in response to stresses and loads and various kind of dynamic and static conditions. So the methodology used was finite element analysis. And basically, you know, this type of modeling also provides a possibility to examine all kinds of scenarios and virtual environment, you know, gives you significant savings and so on. So you can do a little bit of experimental and an awful lot of modeling and basically extrapolate, you know, the performance into various conditions. And we were pleased to find that the systems are extremely strong, and Tony was happy, you know, we can roll a car onto this decks and they won't crack, of course, but within certain, of course, conditions and kind of limitations of our model. So we helped Tony to understand where damage would occur in the decking system under certain conditions, but we also provided data on the sequence of this damage and how quickly it would progress. So this information was very essential, you know, met the requirements of our clients, and you know, basically it gave him some guidance. So when we do studies like this, I'm careful to point out that we do not really provide any safety certifications or anything like that. But when we look at the basics of the performance of certain materials and structures, we certainly can do that for you. And that helps to increase confidence in you know, materials and components that are being used. So what I would like just to say in conclusion, and this is information hot off the press, is Tony has communicated to me that through everyone's interactions in this project, he has now been shortlisted as a finalist in the Glasgow Business Awards, and he just highlighted that he wouldn't have got there without the assistance of SE interface and the University of Strathclyde. We are currently continuing the discussions as to what follow-on projects we're going to have. Tony has some exciting new ideas about how to take the his system even further on the technical level. I may not be able to disclose that, but we're definitely exploring the follow-on right now. So, and congratulations on the shortlisting as a finalist in the Glasgow Business Award. So my next case study is the Carrars Wheel. Carrars Renewables Limited are based in Perth, an engineering SME who developed an innovative water wheel which can produce electricity from waterfalls and rivers with less than 5 meters drops or thereabouts. So again, something we can all relate to. Millions of sites worldwide have rivers and waterfalls with less than 5 meters. Particularly, there's a great interest in sub-Saharan Africa and Southeast Asia because there are many communities that actually do not have access to electricity, but they're placed beside the streams. So the hydropower, you know, for low-head electricity is not used sufficiently. And so that is a fantastic opportunity, to bring basically these resources to people all around the world. So Carrars Renewables designed the first patented water wheel in a long time. And it looks like an older technology, but they have given the 21st century kind of twist to it. The wheel operates at a range of speeds and flows, is forgiving to the environment, to the fish in the streams, and basically, hopefully will provide a low-cost base load supply of green energy around, around small rivers. So the company came to us seeking support in developing manufacturing methods to select the most cost-effective and sustainable way of manufacturing of the new water wheel design. Of course, it is a multi-component system. There's a lot of challenges there. We needed to look at how the wheel will be manufactured and how it will be flat packed and transported to the deployment sites and so on. A lot of detail there in terms of development of the manufacturing feasibility overall, and looking at the bill of materials and so on. A complex product by all means. But I would like to draw your attention to a particular part of the sub-study that we've done. We have developed a two-dimensional computation fluid dynamic model for the water wheel design to predict hydraulic behavior and efficiency for a range of design parameters and operating conditions. And why this is important, again, real life prototyping and building a demonstrator, this is all very costly. And of course, we are planning that in our program of work with this company in the future, but certain answers were needed that could only be obtained efficiently through a modeling piece of work. And so the model was created and compared to the experimental data from an earlier study where the physical prototype is currently based. It's a 1 in 10 scale prototype. It's based at Abertay University. And I would just highlight while describing this study that we are working with our colleagues at Abertay University. And actually Abertay is a little bit outside our engineering capability network. But I just want to highlight that we work with all different universities across Scotland, and this is an excellent example of such a collaboration. So you can see the project team actually visiting Abertay University in this photo. So we compared the model to the experimental data, and basically we found an excellent agreement and an excellent predictions for the effects of changes and the efficiency, sort of optimal efficiency regime in the water wheel performance observed experimentally and in the model. And the model was unveiled at Hydro 2020 conference, basically as an academic communication as well. So we're very grateful, this feasibility study was funded by Innovate UK and the PSRC and Department for International Development, and this was under the Energy Catalyst program of funding by Innovate UK. So manufacturing feasibility analysis and the business support that the company have received have allowed the company now to strengthen the business plan, to secure backing from the Crown Estate, Scottish Waters, Scottish Environmental Protection Agency, Michelin Scotland Innovation Park. So we're just steaming ahead towards the full-scale demonstrator right now. I would like also to mention that the project have allowed the company to secure mentoring and support from the Carbon Trust as well. So we're just looking forward to the next phases in this collaboration. So that is my last study and case study, and thank you very much. So we will now be ready to take your questions. Please, that is the end of the main presentation. So thank you. I will pass on to my colleague Raphael, who will communicate the questions to us. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Katja. Thanks, Andy and Alistair, for your presentations. We've had a question from Vicky Cameron, which Alistair's answered in the chat. but perhaps not everybody's seen the chat. So Alistair, maybe you could speak about that in more detail. So Vicky's asking about, she would like to know what the SME would need to pay for any work that's done through NMIS. And once the work is completed, how the ownership of the IP would work.
Thanks very much, Raphael. I was just going to say that the obviously the team will look for funding sources, and obviously external funders are available, and some are within NMIS and some are out with NMIS. If funding is, if the project fits within a particular funding regime, then that's a useful source of helping the project to progress. Each funding regime tends to come with its own rules around ownership of foreground IP, etc. So we tend to visit that on a case-by-case basis on the funding. If the company chooses to fund the project directly, or any company engaging with NMIS funds the project directly, then the general rule is that payment owns all the IP within the project, all the foreground IP within the project. So again, it's a useful discussion to have at the time, with the person engaging with NMIS.
Thanks very much, Alistair. Maybe a question for Katja. You talked about the sort of no wrong door approach during the presentation. Maybe you could just talk a little bit more about that, just for the people who are on the call.
Yes. So what no wrong door means is that we give our SME clients the comfort that when they come to us, that they will receive high quality, very impartial advice in terms of how their requirements can be best addressed. And how their requirements can be best addressed not only by us as NMIS specifically, but also by the whole of our capability network and even organizations further afield. So we will look for the best solution for you. So in that sense, for example, should for whatever reason you come to us with an inquiry which we know, for example, really sits very well with, let's say, another catapult center, or another industry sort of sectoral center, or maybe some other network can be better at giving you more holistic picture, we will immediately refer you to those, to those other partners in our networks. So no wrong door, it means that you can be reassured that we are not only kind of be focusing on our capability, but we will be focusing on you as your needs, your bespoke requirements, and just find the best path in the innovation landscape for you to work with us and with others as well. So I hope that makes a bit of sense. So we're not kind of pushing, so to speak, any particular products or services. We're looking for the best solution for you, and we will hear you out, even if you kind of really maybe to the, if the door is not quite appropriate and so on. So I mean, I do not exclude any sector. We've had inquiries over the years from companies, for example, even in creative industries, can be, all kinds of services, makers of light goods, food creators of new food products, and so on. So we will help guide you towards other, more specialist centers, for example. So that's what I would describe as a no wrong door approach. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. I think I can't see that there are any other questions, and I'm just conscious of the time that we're coming to 12:30. Sorry, I think somebody just popped a question in. So somebody here, Alistair Moody, is posted a comment. So he's saying that he developed and ran an recycling project for the camping brand Vango, called Nearly New Tents. And they've now been rebranded, and he's kindly posted a link to the website. And he's looking for projects in a similar theme. And he's asking us whether we know of any similar projects that are happening within the center, or whether, who the right contact within the center is for a project like that based on upcycling and recycling. So
yes, well, I would just recommend that he gets in touch with us directly, just as we've described, make an inquiry with us, and we will just quickly get involved and have a conversation with you. So yes, so it's kind of to do with textiles, maybe novel materials and so on. We've done work in that space. So please just come to us, and we will look into the details of your requirements. Thank you.
Thanks very much. If anybody has any other questions that they think of after they've after the session, please let us know. Just drop us a line at the inquiries email that's on the presentation. And I'm just going to hand back over to Katja to close out the session. Thanks very much.
Well, thank you all very much. Thank you all for coming along. Let's start the conversation here. I would like to thank also the speakers today, Andy and Alistair, and Raphael. Thank you very much for handling the Q&A. And please get in touch with us, and let's just start your SME innovation journey with us. We're looking forward to contacts from you. Thank you.
Thanks, Katja. And as you say, thanks very much to all our panel today, and thanks to you, the audience, for joining us. And as Katja mentioned at the start, you will receive a survey shortly after the session finishes. And if you would mind taking a few moments to complete it, it would be appreciated. Your feedback does help us shape future webinars. So we'll just bring the webinar to a close now, and thanks very much once again for joining us. Thank you.